All right, everyone, get ready, because today we're taking a trip, and not just any trip. We're going back in time.
Yeah.
And get this, our vehicle is language.
I like it.
We're driving deep, deep into the world of Algerian Arabic. This is a language so full of layers, so vibrant, it really is like a linguistic time capsule. Have you always thought of it that way?
Absolutely. Algerian Arabic, which many folks know as Derja, it's not just some isolated dialect, It's like a branch on this incredible family tree of North African Arabic languages, and every single one of them has a story to tell.
And what makes Derja stand out? What makes it such a fascinating time capsule, especially for someone like me who's just starting to, dip my toes into this linguistic pool?
Okay, picture this. You're hearing the familiar sounds of Arabic, right?
Mm.
But woven into those sounds, intertwined with them, you have these threads of Berber, French, even these little whispers of ancient Punic. It's truly remarkable.
Wow. Yeah, okay, I'm picturing it.
You're not just hearing a language, you're practically holding a piece of history when you listen to Algerian Arabic, hearing it spoken aloud.
Okay, that is cool. It's like holding a piece of history in your hands, or hearing, you said that. It's not just language, there's something more there.
Exactly. And there's this other layer to it too. Algerian Arabic is a great example of this linguistic idea. It's called diglossia.
Oh, okay.
Sounds very academic, I know, but it's a simple concept, really. It just means that within a society, you have two languages or dialects that people use, one formal, maybe for writing or official stuff, and then the everyday language, the language of the streets.
Oh, okay, I get it.
It's kind of like how we might, I don't know, how we'd use perfect grammar in a job interview, but then with our friends, we relax, use slang, It's all about context.
Absolutely, yeah, code switching. Okay, so there's this whole other level to how people are using the language depending on the situation. This is fascinating. Now, I have to ask, you mentioned this linguistic stew earlier. I love that image. Let's break it down. We've got Berber, Punic, French. How did all these ingredients end up in Algerian Arabic's vocabulary?
Right, so like you might expect, a lot of it comes down to history, right? Layers of it. And, of course, cultural contact plays a huge role. So at its core, Algerian Arabic's vocabulary is naturally rooted in Arabic because of where it sits in the world, But that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, lay it on me. I love it when things get interesting.
Well, get this. Something like 8 to 9% of Algerian Arabic words, they come straight from Berber languages.
Really?
That's a significant chunk, and what it tells us is that there's this direct link back to the people who were living in North Africa before Arabic even arrived.
Wow, that's way more than a sprinkle of Berber, like you were saying. It's like finding out your grandma's secret recipe has this ingredient that goes back generations in the family. What kind of words are we talking about here? Give me some examples.
Okay, so a really common one is the word for table. In Algerian Arabic, you say ahola. People use it all the time, every day, but that word, straight from Berber languages. And these aren't just like, some dusty old words that are barely hanging on. They're living proof that Berber culture is still actively shaping how people in Algeria live and speak, even today.
That's incredible. So even the everyday objects, the words we use for them, are telling us a story. That's so cool. What about Punic? You mentioned that earlier, and that's the language of ancient Carthage, right?
You got it. And while it's not as common as the Berber influence, it's still amazing to find these, I think of them as like linguistic echoes, these little hints of a civilization that, thrived centuries ago, like the word for fig, for example.
Right.
In Algerian Arabic, it's huriha, and that word, Punic roots.
No way.
It's true. It's a good reminder that empires, they might fade, but languages, they have this way of holding on to these pieces, these traces, for centuries.
I love that. Next time I have a fig, I'm going to think about that. Makes you wonder what other words we use every day have these hidden stories, these connections to the past. But we've got Berber influence, we've got Punic. There's also, obviously, French that's made its way into Algerian Arabic because of the colonial period. Right?
Oh, absolutely. You can't miss the French loanwords in Algerian Arabic. You'll hear them sprinkled into everyday conversations, especially when people are talking about technology, administration, things like that. Modern life.
Right. It makes sense. Languages evolve, they change, they borrow from the languages and cultures around them. What about, are there any other languages that have left their mark on Algerian Arabic?
You name it, it's there. I mean, Algerian Arabic is like this incredible melting pot of linguistic influences. You've got French, for sure, but then you also find traces of Andalusia Arabic, brought over by refugees who fled Spain, Turkish from back in the Ottoman Empire days, even a little bit of Spanish here and there.
Wow.
It really shows you that Algeria has always been this cultural and linguistic crossroads.
So it's like each of these languages has added its own little spice to the mix, creating this really unique flavor that is Algerian Arabic.
That's so cool. Okay, but I'm dying for some more examples, some more concrete stuff. Can you give me a few words, maybe one from each of these influences that really demonstrate this blend? Hit me with them, those words. I want to hear them.
Okay, let's see. How about this? Imagine you're at a cafe, right? And you need a fork. So in Algerian Arabic, you'd ask for a fourcheta.
Fourcheta. Okay.
Dead giveaway, right? That French influence.
Yes, fourcheta. Easy to remember. Okay, what about from some of the other languages?
Okay, so let's say you're talking about a really beautiful garden. In Derja, you might use the word huerto,
Huerco.
borrowed straight from Spanish.
Okay.
And then to round it out, if you want to say something is strange or weird, you could use the word garip.
Okay.
And that one originally from Turkish. Each one of these words, it's like this little peek, this little window into a different part of Algerian history. It's really neat. It's true. It's like each word has its own little passport, with all these different stamps from all the places it's been. This is great. But all this talk about vocabulary, it makes me wonder about pronunciation. Are there any quirks about Algerian Arabic pronunciation that make it unique?
Oh, for sure. Pronunciation is key. You're right. And here's something really cool about Algerian Arabic. It's actually held on to some of those classical Arabic sounds that other dialects, they've kind of lost them or simplified them over the years.
Oh, wow. So it's like a more, I don't know if authentic is the right word, but is it a more pure link to the past? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like there are these letters, these specific sounds in classical Arabic that in a lot of other modern dialects, they've sort of glided together or shifted. But in Algerian Arabic, you can still hear them clear as day, just like they were pronounced centuries ago.
Wow.
It's really remarkable. Linguists love this stuff.
That's amazing. It's like finding, I don't know, a perfect recording of a song from 1,000 years ago, and you get to hear it exactly how it was meant to be heard. But I'm also thinking, languages change, they adapt. Is the grammar in Algerian Arabic as complicated as classical Arabic?
That is such a great question, and here's where it gets even cooler. So while the pronunciation has stayed pretty, I guess you could say, conservative, the grammar has actually become a lot more simple over time.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like this really interesting balance, this push and pull between preserving the old and, adapting to the new.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like they're holding on to the core of something, the heart of it, but letting it live, letting it change and thrive in a new context.
Yeah.
But okay, I want to focus in on Algeria a little bit here. I mean, even within one country, people speak differently in different regions, right?
Yeah.
Just like we have different English accents, dialects, all that.
You are so right. Algerian Arabic, it's not this single thing, it's got all these variations, these dialects, each one with its own little twist. It's great.
Okay, so walk me through some of that diversity.
Okay, so think of it this way. Algerian Arabic can be roughly split into two main groups, two branches. We call them pre-Hillelian and Hillelian.
Okay.
And that reflects these different waves of Arabic influence over many centuries.
So it's like different chapters in the story of Arabic coming to North Africa.
Exactly. So the pre-Hillelian dialects, these are often spoken in places that are kind of mountainous areas or regions that are a bit more isolated. And because of that, they've kept some of those older features of the language.
Fascinating.
Then you have the Hillelian dialects, and these were shaped by, all these Arab tribes that came in around the 11th century. And these dialects are much more widespread now, and they have their own little quirks, their own characteristics.
Wow. So even just by listening to how the pronunciation changes, how the vocabulary changes, you can almost trace the movement of people and cultures across time. That's so cool.
Right. It's like this map, this linguistic map. And even within those two big branches, every city, every region has its own linguistic fingerprint.
Really?
Take Jijil Arabic, for example. It's up in the Northeast. They've got this really unique sound to their Derja, very melodic. And they've actually held on to 3 short vowels that a lot of other Derja dialects, they've kind of merged those into one. It's fascinating.
Wow. So even within Algerian Arabic, there's this whole spectrum of diversity. It makes you wonder, are there any dialects that are, sadly fading away?
It's true. Just as languages evolve, some dialects, they do fade over time. Often this happens because of social factors, historical events, things like that, like Judeo-Algerian Arabic, for example.
Yeah.
Historically, this was spoken by Jewish communities in Algeria. It's a shame to see these dialects fade.
It reminds you that languages are living things. constantly being shaped by the people who speak them, by the times they live in. But okay, I want to shift gears just a little bit here. I'm getting this like itch. You know?
Oh.
I want to learn some Algerian Arabic. Got any good phrases we can share? Give me the good stuff, the phrases our listeners could actually use if they were, say, walking through the Kasbah or trying to buy something amazing in a spice market.
All right. Let's start with greetings, the basics. Everyone knows salam, right?
Right.
But in Algerian Arabic, you're more likely to hear logs.
Lobs.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying, "Are you doing well?" But it's more than that. It's about showing respect, making a connection with the person.
The buffs. Okay, I like that. It's got a nice ring to it. But what about, okay, I've said hello. Now what? What can I say to, I don't know, navigate those busy markets you were talking about?
Oh, I've got you covered. Try this one. Shalahada.
Okay.
It means, how much is this? Essential for any good haggling.
Okay. Love it. Shalhada. That's going straight into my phrase book, definitely. But you know me, I always love those little language quirks, those things that make a language really unique. Anything like that in Algerian Arabic, something we should be listening for.
Oh, are you kidding? Algerian Arabic is full of them. One fun one is how they do possessives. They've got this word, tie. It's kind of like saying of in English, but they use it in a different way than some other Arabic dialects.
Oh, okay. How so?
So like if you wanted to say my house, you'd say dartatai. Literally, house of me.
Dartai. Okay, so you kind of flip the sentence structure around. That's so interesting. It's those little things, those differences that make learning a new language so cool. I feel like I'm really starting to get a feel for Algerian Arabic just from these little examples.
Isn't it amazing? That's what I love about languages, Even just a little taste, just a glimpse into this new way of putting sounds together, this new way of thinking about the world, it can really open your mind, help you connect with a culture.
It's true. But I'm already feeling inspired to travel. And we haven't even left the studio. But no, seriously, what strikes me was so incredible about Algerian Arabic is that it's this beautiful blend of all these different influences. And you can hear them all. If you listen closely, it's like you're hearing the echoes of these ancient civilizations, these whispers of nomadic journeys, and then the rhythm of modern life all mixed together.
That's a great way to put it. Algerian Arabic really is a perfect example of how language, it's never just this fixed thing, it changes, it grows, it picks up new ingredients along the way, and it reflects the people who speak it, their lives, their stories. It's really beautiful.
It is. And it makes you realize language is so much more than just words,
Okay.
Okay, so for our listeners who are feeling that spark, that desire to learn more, to really dig deeper into Algerian Arabic, what's one thought, one question you'd want them to take away, something they can keep in mind as they're exploring?
Here's something to chew on. We've seen how Algerian Arabic, it's held on to these ancient roots, right?
Right.
But it's also embraced all this change, all this cultural exchange, and it's made it stronger, more vibrant. So think about the languages you speak. How do those languages reflect who you are, where you come from, where you're going? Something to think about.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It really makes you realize that language isn't just about communication. It's about identity, about our history, our connection to the world around us. Wow. Thank you so much for taking us on this journey, this deep dive into Algerian Arabic. I feel like I've learned so much, not just about the language, but about history, culture, even myself a little bit,
My pleasure. It's been fun, as always.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this adventure. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive. Keep those ears open, keep asking questions, and we'll catch you next time.